distribution to discipline, how data and analytics power Wealthsimple digital-first financial model. And we have with us Derek Van Leer, CTO of Wealthsimple. And for me, this is a very, very interesting session, and I am going to wait maybe a couple of minutes for people to come back from lunch, because I bet that everybody is going to want to listen to what Derek is want to say. By the way, I'm pronouncing your name right? Good. Because it's, Wealthsimple maybe is like the Amazon of financial, right? Like it's a digital first, very different. Started from the beginning like that, very innovative, and I think it's going to challenge a lot of what other financial institutions are doing. So let's listen what he have to say. So welcome, Derek, and I'm going to let you first introduce yourself.
Sure. Hey everyone, good afternoon. My name is Diederik. I'm the CTO at Wealthsimple. I'm sure many of you know or have at least heard of Wealthsimple, but we are Canada's largest fintech with over 3 million customers. And by now we are offering a full-fledged range of financial products. We started as a robo-advisor about 10 years ago, but since then we've been aggressively adding new products and features to our portfolio. So self-directed trading, crypto, credit cards, checking account, mortgage through a partnership. So basically, we offer everything that a bank offers.
And it's good to know. I didn't know you guys offer all that. I thought that it was more about investment, like sort of like trading,
Totally.
Cheap trading, like not being charged for all
you
the...
would say commission-free trading.
Yeah, commission, yeah. Yeah, cheap, it sounded so bad. I'm so sorry.
It's great trading.
I'm not from here. So yeah, it's good to know. Like I think it's very informative to know that you guys own those products, and as well as financial institutions. Now you see that you have more competition, not just on the investment side. So listen. So let's start with the first question, because when we prepare in our call, you really wanted to challenge, and you wanted to do something different and not talking about the traditional thing. And the first question that we agree on was in what do you think people is doing that might not be really working or pushing enough? So what can you tell us?
Yeah, I think it's a really great opening question. And so what I think people are probably not fully realizing, and I don't mean that sound to be bad, but is that late last year, around end of November, early December, the large language models hit some sort of threshold. And before then, they were like interesting, and you could see the potential, but often they would get it wrong. They would hallucinate too much, and you knew it was going to work eventually, but it wasn't quite working yet, and you had to give it a lot of attention and hand-holding. And then with the latest generation of models that were announced and released in November, December, suddenly they went from like potential to like actually effective. And that is 3 months ago right now, and I think it is changing the world. It is truly changing the world. I think it's going to be... It's hard. I think it's hard to underestimate how big this is. I'm very close to it, and my only lesson is that I keep underestimating it. I think it's such a profound new technology, and so we don't quite yet how it's going to play out, but it is going to fundamentally change us, change how we work. It's going to change the very essence. Because suddenly you're able to delegate a task to the model, and with confidence it will come back with the output that you want. And that is just revolutionary. And so what I've seen is that people start prototyping and experimenting with it, and when they start realizing that suddenly they can fly, because this is how powerful this technology is, people just go crazy. They just start building all the things they have been wanting to build. You start seeing people building things that they waited for their retirement, and now they can build it over their weekend. So, and it's going to be very hard for organizations to actually fully grasp the magnitude and the velocity of this technology. So that's what I think, what I'm worried about is that we are not yet grasping how fast this is moving and how consequential it will be to every single part of the organization. And it sounds like, oh my God, he is really drinking the Kool-Aid. And perhaps I am. But all the things I'm saying are actually also based on my own personal experience. So that's why I'm sort of trying to be on stage with you and talk about this, because I think it's a truly transformational technology.
Right. And it's important. And I think that what you say is true. But I would like to then go to a question that is more about how it's materializing. And before the question, I think I have to address to everybody to know, it's like there are point solutions, which is basically, now we have the AI, and what we're doing is sort of like putting the AI in top of the layer of what we do to get like a 5, 7, 8% improvement because it's faster, or you know, like you get a little bit of optimization of your current processes. So that is called a point solution, or let's call it point solution. There is a couple of professors from Rodman that call it that way. And there's system solutions, which is like, well, understanding this technology, we can just like redesign everything that we do in a different way, so then we actually get that 30, 50%, 80% margins that we want. So the question is, are you focusing on point solutions, or like are you right now doing only point solutions, or you already in Wealthsimple going on the system solution, which is redefining things to adopt the AI in a streamlined way?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? Because the point solutions are easier to grasp, and many of the vendors that you use, you will start seeing like these AI features being sprinkled on top of them, right? And suddenly you can ask questions in your favorite tool, whether it is Salesforce or Workday, or like all the tools, they have some sort of AI feature. And this is very much, I would say, like it doesn't really change the fundamental business process that it supports, but it makes it a little bit better, a little bit easier, a little bit. And it's a good way, I think, to sort of get people understanding, but the real impact will be in the system changes. And so actually, we've been, we launched last week what we call an AI Builders Program. Only on LinkedIn, we just reached out and said, hey, make a demo of a process that you think we might want to reinvent, reimagine, vibe code it, make a short movie, 3 minutes, submit it, and then the best ones will get invited for interviews. For a personal interview.
Okay.
And we got more than 1,000 submissions in less than a week.
Wow.
We've been watching videos like a lot. And actually, today I was on the panel. We met 20 people, very fast interviews, having them speak about why they think their approach makes sense. And this is really interesting, right? Because we believe we have to have redesign. You cannot just sprinkle. You have to reimagine what you're doing. And we think it takes a different kind of person that is a little bit less attached to the old way of doing and comes with an AI first or AI native mindset. And this is going to be a new role. This technology is so powerful, it is going to challenge our conceptions about roles. Suddenly, everybody can build. Right? So it used to be the case that we had a separation between thinking, right? Product managers were thinking, and then engineering in my world were the builders, right? That wall is disappearing. Thinking and building become one. And it's not only going to happen in engineering. That's happening first, but I think it's going to happen in every single functional area. So we're looking for people that are at the forefront of this to help us reimagine our own system workflows in this AI native way. And that's, so we are very much doing the second part as well, because that is going to drive the ultimate impact to the organization. And ultimately, to the customer. And I think that the third part, actually, what you didn't ask, I actually think we are now very much in the world of like, okay, we have these tools to build software very quickly, and that is really amazing. But I actually think you're going to create new kinds of software, right? Which we haven't quite yet figured out. But for example, speech to text has become really, really good. So instead of being stuck to your linear flow where I have to do step A, step B, step C, and this is how we've been using apps for God knows how long, like for a very long time, you're just going to be able to talk. Say, hi, my name is Diederik. I want to open an account, right? This is my risk profile. This is what's going to be possible. So it's not only about being more effective in how we run the organization. We're going to be able to offer new kinds of experiences, new kinds of products that are just don't yet exist even. So that's even more exciting, I think.
I think it's happening. I think it was with Sun Life that I have my insurance. And I think that when I wanted to do a claim or do something, and instead, like, I was like, where is the button? You know, but then it's a thing that is like, tell me with a little, you know, it's not speech to text, but it's text, you know, it's like a query of like, tell me what you want to do. So you're like, I want to do this, and then it gives you the options. And the search was actually very good, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, damn it, I'm going to be in this cycle of like telling this machine, I want to do this. It's like, is it this? Like, no. Is it this? No. But actually it was very good, and you know, it's nice to see. So yeah, it's happening. It's getting fast. It's getting implemented. It's getting there, and it's exciting. And for everybody to like understand why this question is very important in terms of like putting AI in as a layer versus changing the whole thing. The story or the way the professors of Rutland explain it is, when electricity started, factories before had a steam generator that was very big, and the factories were designed specifically to have that generator in the middle, and the whole thing was huge, and processes that needed a lot of energy would be close to the machine, and processes that needed less energy was away from the machine. But then the layout was not in terms of like, I do this first, I do this second, but it was about how I get close to the machine if I need, you know, to do something. And then when the electricity came, some companies, what it did is replace the steam engine and put an electrical motor. But the layout was the same. So then they were getting a little bit of savings because the electricity was cheaper maybe than the other one. However, the ones who saw this and figured out that it's like, well, now with electricity, I don't need to put the layout like this. I can have, you know, the layout in terms of how the works enter and comes out. Ford was one of the ones who figured it out. And then the time to build the car, he reduced it in 80%. So, and you know, there, because it's physical, it's easier to see. Now, I don't know what is the layout that we have, and I don't know what is the layout that is going to be, but we have to think about it. So, because that is what is going to be the game changer between you building a car in, 100 days or building the car in 20 days. So, it's very, very important.
It's a great analogy. Back then, though, you had years or maybe even decades to come around this change, right? That was a very gradual change. What's happening now is that this is getting so compressed in time, is that just running at full speed will only make sure that you're staying at the same pace. And if you're not running right now at full speed, you will actually fall behind. Right? That's how fast this is going.
Yeah.
And that is really challenging. Like, it's really challenging for everyone to understand that the technology is here. It is not anymore a promise. It is starting to radically change how we work. And so this is why my encouragement is to play and experiment as much as you can yourself, because that will show you how powerful it is. It's hard to find the right words even to explain how powerful this is. So my advice would be, just try it. Play with it and learn. That is very, very important right now.
All right. So you ready for another question?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So how big is the change we have in front of us with the current and future development of AI?
I mean, I think it's big, right? I think by bringing back thinking and building, as I said, you're going to organize differently, right? Because the way we've been organizing is typically, actually, we've we can only keep this many things in our head at one time. So the way we have been working is we have a task and we split it up into smaller tasks and we put it in some ticketing system and we hand it over to each other, right? And it is just basically working at the speed of human, right? And it makes sense. And so you no longer are bound by that kind of world. The LLM, the large language model, can comprehend and do what you can do in a day, it can do in a second. It's like, it is so crazy. So what's going to happen now is you're going to actually see bottlenecks in the rest of the organization, the organization start to arrive, because the people who are building at a pace that nobody else is going to be able to keep up. Just not. You can't. And so I already start seeing this in engineering, that we are so fast that they are starting to wait. So now I need to get sure that my counterparts get as fast, right? My product, my design. Okay. But then when they get there, you're going to know what's going to happen next. Then the layer outside is going to get slow, right? Like now suddenly people are waiting for marketing, for finance, for legal, right? So you're going to see this concentric circle in your organization where the bottleneck will be moving out further and further. And that is really going to change how we should be organizing. And I think that's the biggest problem is we are so attached to our hierarchy, right, and our layers of management. And it's going to be very challenging to... This technology and that world are probably not going to work very well together.
And you see me smiling because I have a question. It's like, have you figured out? Because that's like last year we created so many POCs, and then like you said, the technology is getting so good that like in the past, if the ratio of success would be low, we have a very high ratio of success. We created something for legal, something for the account managers, something for the underwriters, and we created a lot of tools that were amazing, and they were like, yeah, we want this, and now we have to integrate them. So we have to go to other teams. So it's just what you're saying, and it's been friction because then, you know, it's like my team is pushing everybody, and it's like, oh, we cannot move that quickly, and we're trying to figure out this new thing, and then the business also, even for the things that we're implementing for them, and they want it, but they're like, but we don't have, you know, the change management, and like we need to do this. So it's like we're getting to those layers, and you're talking about it, and it's like, have you figured it out?
No, and I think, but I think we have to be very honest. Nobody has figured it out. People who say they have figured it out, I don't know. Like, this is actually where it comes back. I think it's very important to create a culture and an environment where you can experiment, where you can prototype, where you can learn, where you are open. One thing you do know is that probably the old world is not going to survive. It's less clear what this new world is going to look like. And I don't have the answers yet. But what I want to do is I want to sort of discover it and create that new world. And that's what I'm working with my engineering team on, to sort of help create it. It goes back to the AI Builders program, right? Like, we want to bring in new people with new kinds of ideas to help us figure out what this new world is going to look like. I think that is just really the honest answer. It wasn't obvious for people when electricity came how to reinvent the layout of the plant, right? Like, it took a while
for a visionary to be like, wait a minute, you know?
And so it's the same thing is going to happen now. It's going to take us a little while to figure that out. And I think it might be uncomfortable, right? To sort of live in that state of not knowing, because we are like to be in control, and we want to, like, and people look for us for clear answers, and like, we don't want to go there. I think we have to sort of live in this sort of like twilight. Yeah,
well, you know, the way I'm approaching this is I feel good either way. Because if you would have the answer, then I'm like, good, like I feel good that I was going to ask you the answer like after. But not having, like, if nobody have the answer, also I shouldn't feel so bad, you know?
Well, at least, or maybe I should quantify my answer. I have not yet met that person. Maybe there's one person.
Maybe like, I don't know, Amazon or Google, they're figuring it out, but okay. So we have another question. So the train has already left the station, I mean the AI train. Yeah. What do you think it would happen if leaders don't realize this change and get on that train?
It's a good question, right? I think it depends a little bit on like for an organization, it depends on how defensible your business is, right?
Okay.
And so if you, like in the financial world, there's a lot of regulatory protection, right? So that is going to become the real protective layer. But software itself is going to be less and less important, right? Like everybody can build what you have built. That is less and less becoming the unique differentiator. It's going to be regulatory capture. It's going to be data modes that you have because you have access to proprietary data that nobody else has. It's going to be things like trust and brand recognition, right? Those are kind of the things that are going to protect you in this world. So if you have those things, then you might be a little bit more safe from the train leaving. However, this train is accelerating, right? Like it's not just leaving; it's getting faster and faster.
Yeah.
And that's really, really hard for us to understand. We are very bad at understanding the rate of change. The models are very good. What I think is going to happen next are going to be like self-learning models or self-improving models. I think we don't know what that means to us. That is going to be very, very disruptive. So it goes back to my earlier answer. Like, make sure you don't get left behind by this train. Experiment, learn, create an environment. Talk to your compliance and legal teams because they are very change resistant on this one. But you've got to do something, right? Like the technology is here; it has arrived. I would say, don't be an ostrich.
Okay. I'm just thinking, what if I get in the wrong train? Then I'm going in the wrong direction. It's the worst.
I think there's no wrong train, really. I think the wrong thing is just staying in the station.
Yeah. Not taking a decision is taking a decision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not doing is a decision, or not, right?
Yeah.
And that's we got to move.
All right. Okay. So we have some time. If people, I know that this one is going to have a lot of questions. So we have one question here first. Wait for the mic. Is coming.
Okay. Hi. Thank you for your presentation. That was a great discussion. I saw Diana did post the LinkedIn AI Builder announcement a few weeks back, and you mentioned you did the demo. I'm not sure if you can share, but was there anything that was very innovative or interesting that you saw from those discussions? Anything you can speak to?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall we were blown away by the submissions. I mean, I don't want to single out. Well, I mean, I can. There was one that was very, very practical. Was basically this app that allowed you to register with different daycare. Right, it's a very manual process. With like you have to like there's this unclarity about demand and supply of places in daycares. We all know it's very scarce, and it's a lot of work. There's no centralized system. So then you have to like register like 10 times. You have to fill out 10 different forms with roughly the same data. And so this app basically did it for you, right? You just gave once your family situation, and it would just basically register for you're automatically at all the daycares in your neighborhood. It was just really like so thoughtful and like a real practical problem that many of us have either lived through or maybe experiencing right now. And it was just really amazing. But honestly, there was just really, we were honestly blown away in the overall quality and thoughtfulness of the submissions.
Good question. Is there somebody else? Don't be afraid. Okay, we have the same person with another question. Good. Oh, like also there? Well, yeah, let's give opportunity to everybody.
So what do you think would be an important moat? Because AI is evolving so quickly. Is it like the data set, introducing products that, like for example, customer-facing products that don't have, the customer won't know it's AI-driven? Like what do you think would be the moat for this?
I mean, I think proprietary data is going to be, it was already important, but it's going to be even more important. And I think you have to make sure that you become a well-sought destination, right? So but what we're going to see is more and more people using agents to do things on their behalf, right? So you might have heard about agentic commerce. It's quite likely that all of us will have their own agent in the near future that's just able to do things for you. So if that's true, and we've already seen evidence of this, like you might have heard about Moldbook, an open cloud, where people just basically gave the model full access to their lives, including, I'm not recommending this to do this, by the way, I'm just telling you what they did. They would give full access to their life, including credit card access, and they would just say, like, run my life. Wild things, like absolutely wild things. There was one, I got a screenshot from someone, and the person asked the bot or the agent, hey, I see this expense on my credit card, what did you buy? And the bot goes like, well, I bought you a executive presence training. And I'm not making this up, right? I'm not making this up. And because I thought this was going to be good for you, and the ROI is very, very high. And also, I bought you a domain name to launch your new website as an executive coach, and it was $4,000 in total. So this is wild stuff, and I'm not advocating for this, but you can start seeing, like, okay, if we tame this a little bit and we put some more guardrails in place, people are going to have their own personal agents. And so, then as a company, how can I make sure that I'm open for business from these agents, right? I think that is really, really important. So, and that's a very uncharted territory, but this is where it's going very quick.
Good. We have also another question there.
Hi.
Hi.
I would like to take us back to the conversation of reimagining business processes, and when you said, like roles are merging, right? Like the functional expert with the engineering mind are becoming one person. Where do you find these individuals? Right, like where do you think is the right place to look? Is it smart, young, like people that come from a tech background, or how do we find that mix today?
So I think it's mostly a mindset, actually. Some people think like it's going to be like the death of the junior role, right? I'm not quite sure that's true. I think it's really about people who want to be creator, who want to be builder, who feel empowered and have agency to take these tools by the horns and start building, right? I think that is really, I think it's more a mindset thing. It's very easy to learn. There's a lot of tricks you can do with these models, right? You can just basically ask the model to tell you how to use the model better. Right? You get these weird loops. So you can say, like, okay, how can I give you better instructions? And it will tell you how to give it better instructions. And so when you start doing that, you become better and better. And so that's a mindset. How do you approach the model? And so I think it's more in those kind of areas I would look. Judgment, business sense. I think the relative importance of domain expertise will go down just because the model knows it all effectively. But it's going to be like people that will see what's possible and will be just curious enough to help create the next wave. And that is just, in that sense, very exciting. The way I talk about it internally, like, it has never been a better time to be a builder. And so people who identify themselves as builders, creators, maker, owners, like all that kind of language, they will thrive in this time.
Okay. I think, well, maybe that last question, but then we answer quickly.
Sure.
We have 1 minute for the next session.
Hi, I have a question. So this might be not something related to the general concept, but more of a Wealthsimple concept. So are you guys planning to build any agentic AI agents to integrate with the Wealthsimple app where the people can just have a chat to book the trades?
I think we're definitely exploring that. That is sort of like it's already possible in many of the crypto markets, right? Where you can do agentic trading. I think it makes sense for us to explore that as well.
Because nowadays, like because of the market volatilities, right? People are trying to capture the market as early as possible. So if there is any news is coming out, especially like from US headquarters or Pentagon, then the market is completely volatile. And at that time, people are trying to capture the market, especially the high net worth individuals, or even from the enterprise level, when people are trying to capture. And if these kind of agentic chat bots are there, then it is easy for the people, even for the common man, to have like a, hey, book me a trade for Apple when it is going at 230 or below, or even if it is going like 7% volatility with negative impact, then it will just give a leverage for the common man to implement, right? So do you have any roadmap for this kind of implementation?
Yep, totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, maybe like you guys take it offline. We got to the end
Yep.
of the time. It was a great talk, a coffee chat instead of a fireside.
Yeah, there's no
And-
fire.
Yeah, and thank you for coming. I hope you stick around for the
Yeah.
afternoon so people
Thank you.
can reach out. And yeah, rounds of applause.